Welcome to Ovary-Acting, your ecosystem for all things women, where we take your health and wellness seriously, but ourselves, not so much. I'm your host, Dr. Jennifer Ashby, clinician, acupuncturist, researcher, and your guide through this female journey. Why are we doing this podcast? Because you deserve a life revolution, one where you feel informed and empowered, but also where we can discuss and laugh at the ridiculousness of it all. This is a place where we call out the elephant in the room. So if you want some smart talk with a wink, stick around because we're about ready to shake things up. This week's episode is a follow-up to the Ovary-Acting podcast episode about being the parent of a neurodivergent child. And I want to talk about East Asian medicine's, not really, just kind of the point of family in this episode, this take. So nobody hands you a manual when you become a parent, but somewhere along the way, most of us pick up a phantom pamphlet anyway, right? We just hear throughout our lives what parenting means, what to expect, how it's going to go, right? And these things read as a set of milestones, and they're a rough script for how this is supposed to go. And then you have a kid who doesn't read it, a kid who doesn't hit the marks, a kid who doesn't want to be held in the way the books say, or in the way you see your friends and other members of your family holding their children. You have a child that doesn't make eye contact the way the pediatrician's charts expect. And does worse when you try to any suggested strategy from any other manual or book. You have a child that melts down in the cereal aisle in a way that has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with a nervous system that's taking the world in differently than the child next to yours is. So if that's you, I want to say something that maybe nobody has said, or that I know no one said to me at all, or at least they didn't say it clearly enough when I needed it. There's nothing wrong with you or your child. There is something different about your child. Those are not the same sentences. And the gap between them is where most of the suffering lives for you and your children, or the children that you know. So what we're not prepared for is this grief of this version that you thought you were getting when you got pregnant, right? You're not prepared for this ensuing grief. You're not grieving your child. Your child's right there. Your child's next to you. Your child is whole and watching you right there next to you. You're actually grieving an imagined future that was never real to begin with. It was just a story you were telling yourself, or that you were told, probably based on what you've been fed by a society that expects neurotypical kiddos. So let yourself grieve it, quietly, privately, and without guilt. It does not mean that you love the actual child in front of you any less. It means that you're human, and humans build pictures of the future. And sometimes those pictures have to be taken down and recreated. So take them down. Recreate what works for you and your family, however you define family. And don't let anyone shame you for the fact that it takes some time, and that you feel that nothing that you turn to is helping. What you are experiencing is actually very real. The exhaustion is also very, very real. Parenting a neurodivergent kid is not harder because you're doing it wrong. It's harder because you are constantly doing. You're constantly in a job where you're having to translate, and other parents don't have to do a constant different type of translation of the world for this particular child. You have to learn how to read totally different emotional language. You have to anticipate sensory landmines invisible to everybody else. And you are advocating rooms full of professionals who are trained, but who did not grow up inside your particular child. This is real labor. It deserves real rest, not a pep talk about gratitude. I hope that you find the space, that you are granted the space for this rest that you will need. You're also going to become fluent in a system that was not built for your kid. So there's IEPs, there's 504 plans, there's waitlists, there's specialists who are wonderful, and there's specialists who are not wonderful. You will learn acronyms you never wanted to know and become, whether you like it or not, a case manager. a researcher, and a fierce advocate in rooms where you are the only one who has actually watched this child, your child, sleep or self-soothe or light up over one thing that makes sense to them. Trust that experience in yourself. The professionals know the research, but you know your kid. And stop measuring your child against a stopwatch that was never calibrated for them. Developmental timelines are averages, not verdicts. Averages describe a population. They say almost nothing about the particular, specific, unrepeatable person your child is every single day. Progress for your child might look sideways instead of forward, for a while at least. Maturity seems to happen anyway, but even sideways counts. And find your people, the ones that don't need it explained. There's a very particular loneliness in being the only parent in the room whose child needs something different. And there's very particular relief in finding even one other parent who gets it without you having to justify it first. Go find your person. Go find that person. Or find a support group. I know there are Facebook threads. Find just one single friend who's been through it. It matters more than almost anything else you will do this year. You were not built to carry this in isolation or to rely on your partner solely, your partner for support. And you don't have to. So let your child see you delight in them, not just manage them. Somewhere in the appointments and the paperwork and the vigilance, don't lose the part where you just think they are wonderful. Kids, all kids, but maybe especially kids who have absorbed a lot of correction, can tell the difference between a parent who is managing them and a parent who is genuinely delighting in who they are. Be the second one whenever you can, and we are all human. We don't hit that mark every time. But be that second one out loud to your child as often as you can muster. You are not failing. This is a version of a virgin. No, it's definitely not a virgin. This is a version of parenting that is actually in front of you. You are doing the actual job with the actual kid that is also right there in front of you, who is not a diagnosis, who is not a deficit, who is not a delay. They're just another person figuring out the world in their own particular way, with you beside them, figuring out how to help. That's the whole job. You're already doing it. So I'll see you next time. Watch the podcast with the wonderful Calista Wilson and her chat about her son Ransom, who is 6, and their journey through diagnosis into the first 6 years of life together. I always appreciate you. Welcome back to Ovary-Acting and Substack, also on Substack. We appreciate you being here, and always remember, like and share as much as possible. Until next time.